The Absolute at Large by Karel Čapek. Translated by David Wyllie. Performed by Francis Bass. Chapter 22. An Elderly Patriot. All the staff in the newspaper office were working hard. The telephonist was quarreling loudly down the line with the operator. Scissors clicked, typewriters clacked, and Mr. Cyril Kéval sat on the table, his feet dangling down the side. "There was a man preaching down in Wenceslas Square," he was saying quietly. "Some communist urging a life of poverty, telling people they should be like the lilies of the field. Had a beard right down here, down to his waist. I find it quite revolting, the number of men with long beards going about these days. They all look like apostles." Old Mr. Rejek replied, as he pored through the archives of the Czech press agency. "How do they get their beards to grow like that?" Mr. Kéval mused. "Rejek, listen. I think it must be the Absolute that has something to do with it. I'm even getting worried my beard might grow like that, too. Just think of it, right down to the waist." Said Mr. Rejek thoughtfully. "There's a celebration on Havlíčkov Square today to declare the deification of the free mouse, and Father Novacek is still performing his miracles on Tilovo Square. Just wait and see what comes of that. Yesterday he cured someone who'd been a cripple from birth. Then there was a march and that cripple beat up a Jew, broke 3 of his ribs or something. He was a Zionist, you see." Mr. Rejek observed as he crossed out a few reports. "I'm sure there will be more disturbances of some kind today too, Rejek," Mr. Cyril Kéval considered. "The progressives are meeting on Old Town Square, calling for separation from Rome again, and Father Novacek has founded the Maccabeans, a sort of armed guard for Catholics. Oh, there will be lots of fun there, just you see. The Archbishop told Novacek not to do any more miracles, but he's like a man possessed, that priest. He's even brought people back from the dead before now." Thought Mr. Rejek, and continued with his crossing out. "I received a letter from my mother," Cyril Kéval quietly explained. "Down there in South Moravia, they're all very cross about the people in Bohemia. They say they're godless and pagans and idolaters, and that they invent new gods and I don't know what else. They shot a gamekeeper there because he was from Bohemia. I'm telling you, Rejek, it's boiling over everywhere you look." Mr. Rejek agreed. "They've even been fighting in the synagogues," Mr. Kéval added. "The ones who went to worship Baal were badly beaten up by the Zionists. Even 3 dead there were. And do you know the communists have split apart? You'd better keep an eye on them. I'll only forget about it. They're going to be fighting there as well. Now there are the mystical communists, the left, as it were. Then there are the Christians, the Marians, the scientists, the resurrectionists, the Textile Workers' Society of St. John, the Iron Workers' Society of St. John, the Miners' Workers' Society of St. John, and something like another 7 parties as well. They're squabbling now about how healthcare should be financed and homes for the workers. Listen, Rejek, I'll be going down into town today. They sent some troops down there this afternoon. One barracks sent an ultimatum to another barracks telling them they'd have to accept their doctrine of the 3 stages of salvation. If they don't accept it, there's going to be a battle. So a third barrack sent down troops to disarm the first, which barricaded itself in, drew its machine guns up to the windows, and declared war. Now they're surrounded by the 7th Dragoons, the Castle Guard, and 4 columns of light artillery. They start shooting at 6 o'clock, they say. Rejek, what joy it is to be in the world today." Said Mr. Rejek. "Yes, and at the university today," Mr. Kéval continued quietly. "The natural science faculty had a fight with the history faculty. The scientists, you see, deny the truth of the Epiphany because they're pantheists, or something. The professors were at the front, and Deacon Roddle carried the flag himself. The historians occupied the university library at the Clementinum and defended themselves desperately, mainly with the books. Deacon Roddle was hit on the head with the collected works of Velinovsky and was dead on the spot, a clear case of concussion. Arn Novak was seriously injured by 1 volume of Inventions and Developments. Finally, the historians threw the collected works of Jan Verb at their attackers. Rescue workers are there now. They've dug out 7 dead bodies so far, including 3 professors, although I don't think there can be more than 30 of them buried alive down there." Thought Mr. Rejek. "And there's the football ground too," sputtered Kéval as he became more excited. "Sparta have declared that the one true god is Dia, from ancient Greece, whereas the other team, Slaviae, wants Fontevit, the Slavonic god. The 2 clubs are going to play a match against each other on behalf of their respective gods on Sunday. They'll both be equipped with hand grenades as well as football boots, and they say Slaviae have got machine guns as well, and Sparta a 12-centimeter cannon. There's a tremendous rush for tickets, and both side supporters are arming themselves up. Rejek, it's going to be an enormous row. I think it'll be Zeus who wins myself." Said Mr. Rejek. "But how do you think you can have a look at these reports that have come in?" "Yes, I suppose so," Cyril Kéval agreed. "See, you can even get used to God. What's come in new from the Czech press agency, then?" "Nothing in particular," Mr. Razek grumbled. "A violent demonstration in Rome. Things have got going in Ulster, Irish Catholics, see? St. Kilda has gone quite mad. Pogroms and pest, schism in France because the Waldensians have re-emerged there, Neo-Baptists in Munster. Some Father Martin of the Barefoot Brothers has been elected as an alternative pope in Bologna, and so on. Nothing local. See what's in the letters, will you?" Cyril Kéval stopped talking and opened the mail. There was a couple of 100 letters there. He had hardly read through 6 of them before he could take no more. "Look at them, Razek," he began. "They're all the same. This one, for instance, from Crudum. Dear Sir, I have been a subscriber to your respected publication for many years, and I am sure your other readers and society at large who stir up fruitless quarrels will be—" "Here he's forgotten to write the word interested," interjected Mr. Kéval. "Great wonder performed by our local pastor, Father Zakupil," and so on. In Yachin it was a cellar keeper, in Benishov it was a driving instructor, in Göteborg it was even a tobacconist. How am I supposed to read all of this? For a while it was once more quiet in the office. "Razek, listen," Kéval began again. "Do you know what would be a real sensation? If something somewhere happened entirely naturally, without any sort of miracle. But I don't suppose anyone would believe us if we told them that. Wait, I'll try to think up something that happens entirely naturally." There was another period of quiet. "Razek," Kéval lamented, "there's not a thing I can think of that's happened naturally. The more I think about it, the more I see that everything has happened by magic. Everything that happens is some kind of miracle." Just then the editor-in-chief came in. "Who was it who reviewed the Tribune? They've got a report here about something, and we've got no mention of it." "What report's that, then?" Razek asked. "A business report. Some consortium in America has bought up some islands in the Pacific and is renting them out. Coral atolls or something for $50,000 a year. Shares are already at 2,700. G.H. Boney's put $120 million into it. And in our paper there's nothing at all about it," the editor complained, and slammed the door as he left. "Razek," Kéval said, "here's an interesting letter. Dear Sir, as an elderly patriot with memories of hard and oppressive times when our nation was in a state of dark and dismal servitude, I hope you will allow me to raise my voice in complaint. I beg to request that you make use of your most subtle and erudite prose to convey the anxious concerns of us elderly patriots to the Czech nation in order—" and so on. Then it goes, "I see in this ancient and glorious nation of ours that brother rises up against brother, that countless factions, sects, and churches now persecute and vomit their hatred on one another like wolves." This is a very old man, I should think. The handwriting is very shaky. "All this when our ancient enemy surrounds us like a pack of roaring lions and shout their Germanic slogan, 'Separation from Rome,' at our people. This enemy is supported by enemies from within who show more concern for their own parties than for the national unity for which we have yearned so long. We even see with both anxiety and sorrow the approach of neo-Lipinists, causing Czech to raise arms against Czech under the banner of religious slogans of one sort or another and leaving each other lying dead on the murderous fields. The word of Scripture tells us of a kingdom divided against itself, and even this we see fulfilled. There will be combat, there will be bloodshed, just as our just, heroic, and glorious manuscripts foretold." "Stop it there," said Mr. Razek. "But wait, he goes on to tell us about the hypertrophy of church and state. It's the Czech's hereditary disease, he says. There cannot be the slightest doubt about it, just as we were informed by Dr. Kramarz. For this reason we urge you at this 12th hour when great and horrifying dangers threaten us from all sides to call on our entire nation to come together in defense of itself. If it is deemed necessary to have a church as a cohesive force in this union, let it not be a Protestant church, nor a Catholic church, nor monism, nor even agnostic, but let us accept the powerful and fraternal faith of the one Slavonic Orthodox Church. In these stormy times it is this church alone that can cement us into one great Slavonic family and give us the protection of the mighty Slavonic kingdom. Those, however, who fail to unite willingly and wholeheartedly into this single pan-Slavonic mind should be compelled by the power of the state, or whatever exceptional pressure circumstances might justify, to put aside whatever party or sectarian interests he may have embraced and act for the benefit of the nation as an indivisible whole," and so on. Signed, An Elderly Patriot. "What do you think of that, then?" "Nothing," Mr. Razek replied. "I think there's something in it," Mr. Kéval began, but just then the telephonist entered. "A call just in from Munich," he said. "In Germany some kind of religious or internecine war has broken out. Think it's worth printing?" This recording is under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Music was composed by Uzeyir Hajibeyov and performed by the United States Navy Band. The book was written by Karel Čapek, translated by David Wyllie, and performed by Francis Bass.